Aloha.
Hey,
Aloha.
aloha to you.
Uh we're gonna get laid today. It's rumor and innuendo. It is a
Finally.
Monday. I am Dominic D'Angelo. That is not Robert Carpolis over there. That is Robert DeFelice. He's making the hot tag today. Robert Carpolis is on assignment today, but I have Robert DeFelice at Dude Felice on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. But we're calling this today a Monday. And we got a lot of wrestling to talk about. Robert, thanks for joining me, man.
Of course, man. We had a pretty okay pay-per-view last night. A lot of fun things happening. A lot of movement in the bloodline in the past week. So we got some stuff to talk about.
The blood is flowing in the bloodline. And I want to get your perspective on Forbidden Door because I didn't watch it, but I heard a lot about it. So let's get to it. We'll get some perspective. Before we do that, though, let's give a little shout out to some of our folks in the waiting room. We got Stuart Green. Good afternoon, everyone. I've drank coffee all day as I stayed up to watch Forbidden Door last night here in the UK. Wow. Main event was great. The rest, so. But that ending on SmackDown, wow. Awesome. Yep, we're going to cover that. Mike Malaro says, I was at SmackDown on Friday. That ending was perfect. R.I.P. Wiseman. Well, we are going to talk about that for sure. Christopher Zento says, good morning, folks. What a weekend. Let's rumor. And hello to Dre Owens as well. Travis in the chat here. 6'9", everybody. Tony Gong. Everybody's in here. The gang's all here. But a lot to cover in this 30 minutes. Robert, let's just go with it. Forbidden Door, like I said, I didn't watch it. I did not find an incentive to watch it. Otherwise, that is kind of my job to do that sometimes. But I did cover it. And I did see some of the clips and things like that. I saw the return of Britt Baker.
My favorite moment of the evening.
Oh, okay. And then I heard a lot about that main event. Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland. Swerve retains. Let's just get it outright, Robert. What did you think of the pay-per-view overall?
The TLDR is, like Tony Gong here says, Forbidden Door is still going. Yeah, guys, these shows are long. It is for like a different audience than the WWE show, but these shows do tend to run extremely long. I thought it was pretty well done. Like, again, these pay-per-views never miss from an in-ring capacity, if that's your deal. I think we're in a place now where the people who aren't going to like it probably just aren't going to like it. You know what I mean? Like, or if you were a Sting fan and Sting's not doing the thing anymore, or Punk and Punk's in WWE, it's not going to be your thing. I thought it was a really well wrestled show. I thought, the moments that needed to deliver did deliver. Swerve and Ospreay had a great main event. I'm not a fan of interference in my main events, but it does set up an out for Ospreay to leave Don Callis and officially move beyond being a pseudo heel, because he never entered the company with any heelish tendencies whatsoever. I think that's probably the best. Like I said, my favorite moment personally was the return of Dr. Britt Baker. She's a legit pillar for the company. She came back to confront Mercedes Moné, who had just captured the New Japan Strong Women's title, and they're going to have a banger feud, and I think that'll be really fun because these are two women who they're great in the ring, but they're also more character driven. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do, and I'm glad that Britt Baker's back after almost 10 months away.
Yeah, and I think, Robert, you make two great points in regarding both of these occurrences here. When it comes to Ospreay, him losing makes a lot of sense, and in turn, I think it continues to elevate that AEW International title, whatever they want to do with it. Because if he was the world champion and the international champion feels as valuable as the Continental Championship or anything else that's not that very to the forefront of things. Here, you have Ospreay to give this Ospreay an opportunity to further establish this international championship, much like Orange Cassidy did. And there's a lot of titles. There's just a lot of titles. And you almost need to consolidate some of these two.
That's a very common criticism. Somebody on Twitter was saying there was no tag team or trios titles defended, and that's true. But we did see tag team champions in a match with Okada against Tanahashi and the Acclaimed, and that was a fun thing. Tony Khan can say he booked Okada versus Tanahashi in some form or fashion. I know that's a big deal for him. I think, and this is probably the biggest news of the night, actually. They announced Wrestle Dynasty, which will be the night after Wrestle Kingdom in Tokyo. It'll feature New Japan, AEW, Stardom, Ring of Honor, and CMLL people all being represented, which I think is cool. And it just gives this like unified world of wrestling sense, which is good news for the industry. And, just again, hopefully everybody's going to get more exposure and the business as a whole grows. But yeah, as far as the pay-per-view itself, if you're not into AEW pay-per-views, this wasn't going to like suddenly make you a fan of AEW. I think you know where you stand, and I think they know where they stand.
And I think that is part of the issue when it comes to some of these stuff. Like Forbidden Door, it was a cool concept starting off, but to what we've kind of been saying, I'm sure even when you were on the show guesting here, kind of mentioned, it's just like a lot of these stars people are not familiar with. The casual fan is not familiar with, don't know who they are. And, it could just be an afterthought to a lot of these guys. And there in turn, the pay-per-view can kind of seem like that. Did hear it was, obviously like great stuff about Danielson and Shingo. Heard that I saw the ending sequence with Tony Storm and Mina
Shirakawa.
And Mariah May, obviously. So there's a little bit of payoff there.
Little bit of payoff. It's pay-per-view. We can get into some three-way kisses. I think that was a well-told story. It was a fun, short story. Basically, everybody wins. Everybody's happy. The crowd gets to seize a fun moment. I thought that was really good and really strong. I did find out later, because I did not stick around for the scrum, that they just danced and Tony Storm didn't answer any questions, which I just think that's tremendous.
And she's those fucking scrums.
She's just doing the thing where she continues to do whatever she wants during the scrums, and I think that's tremendous.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, like it's funny to kind of make, obviously the media is there and like people should act professional, but obviously this is pro wrestling and it's also there usually a lot of people aren't professional there, so why not just have fun with it?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this when we talked about the Money in the Bank scrum, where it's like, look, yeah, they should be professional, but also when you've got that going on, can you really be super duper professional? I don't necessarily blame either party because it's just a weird arrangement.
Yeah, 100%. Something else I wanted to mention too about the pay-per-view that I thought. Any other big takeaways for you from that show? When it comes to storyline development or anything like that, Robert?
When it comes down to storyline development, I would say, I'm really hoping Danielson wins. I don't think he will. I think it'll be Hanger. But I want to see Danielson just, like I said, Tony Khan should just be like, no, I am the boss here, and I want your name in my record books, so you're going to win this title here.
Absolutely, 100%. I'm hoping it's like just a kind of like they're working everybody, where it's just like, okay, well, we can rule Danielson out, and here he ends up winning it, because it's got to happen. If you're Tony Khan, you need to have him win that title and make it feel more legitimate. You need to make your promotion feel more legitimate. I love Danielson. Danielson's probably my favorite modern wrestler right now or ever. And I would just, I think it would behoove him and AEW if he won that title, because
I mean, he did an interview with Justin Barrasso of Sports Illustrated. He's like, yeah, I don't need to be the world champion. I don't want to be that guy. And it's like, brother, you're retiring anyway. It doesn't matter. You'll have it for like 2 months. Just win the world title for the sake of this company.
Yeah, 100%. It's like, it's only helping the company. It's not hurting it whatsoever. But yeah, overall, like just felt like I heard like the Ospreay sort of match was one for the record books in a lot of ways. But
we didn't talk about this. Obviously, we saw this coming going in. Jack Perry did win the world title, and that's that's what we all saw happening. It was a great ladder match. I saw a great take. I believe it was Ibu from Wrestle Purist who said, I love this ladder match because I'm legitimately concerned for everybody's well-being, and that's exactly as it should be. They did some crazy stuff, and Jack Perry gets the belt. He gets to kind of move up the ladder. Good match. But again, all of these things, it's like a standard AEW pay-per-view at this point. It's not the blowaway that it was because you're used to these now, but it's still a very good show. And if you like that kind of thing, go out of your way to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. And hey, if you want to be blown away in the bedroom, May I introduce to you a little bit of Blue Chew. This episode of Rumor and Innuendo, as always, is sponsored by Blue Chew. Let's talk about sex. Guys, remember the days when you were always ready to go? You can increase your performance and get the extra confidence in bed. Listen up, BlueChew.com. The Blue Chew, that's like the dynamite. Blue Chew is the unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but in chewable tablets and at a fraction of the cost. You can take them anytime, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready whenever an opportunity arises. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of those licensed medical providers, and once you are approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. The best part, it's all done online, so no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the US of A, like Jim Duggan, and prepared and shipped direct to your door. It's in a discreet package as well. Does it work? Don't think you need it? Try it free and see. You gotta love it. The BlueChew.com wants to help you have better sex. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. Chew it and do it. And we got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code RUMOR at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com. Promo code RUMOR to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast.
I do want to be very clear here. Tony Gong says, with Blue Chew, you'll last longer than Forbidden Door. That is not okay. You should consult your doctor if you last even a quarter of the length of Forbidden Door. But the point is, I don't know why the code is rumor, because, ladies and gentlemen, it's no rumor. You want that Blue Chew bump in the ratings and in your bedroom performance. So go ahead and check them out.
Check them out. Check them on out. And hey, speaking of blue, let's talk about that blue brand, SmackDown. What went down? We had some obviously Money in the Bank qualifying matches going on, but the big takeaway from SmackDown was what the new Bloodline did to Paul Heyman in Madison Square Garden, nonetheless. It was a really buzzed about segment after the fact. I haven't heard a negative thing about it. I watched it. Robert, what did you think of that segment?
I thought it was perfect. I think it takes a very special crowd to cheer one Paul Heyman, and I mean intentionally cheer Paul Heyman, where he actually turns babyface by saying, "I will not acknowledge Solo as my tribal chief," and he just immediately gets a Samoan spike to the throat. He gets taken out with the Shield powerbomb through a table. I thought about this. I don't think this is the end of Paul Heyman on screen, but if it was, what a beautiful place, because it's the Garden. It's the place where he started as a photographer. I think that would have been a great place if Paul was choosing to just be out as a character. That's a good send-off. But no, I thought this was great. I think the new kind of aura of the Bloodline, where you've got, Solo going, my MFT, step up and acknowledge me. And they all one by one, yes, I acknowledge you. And I thought that was really good. Jacob Patu, just saying words. So they're going to go with like the real charisma of a Jacob Patu. And I think that that's great. By the way, his entrance, hell of a segment. Hell of an entrance.
I loved it.
They know what they've got with this guy.
Yes.
This guy is money. And I thought that whole segment was money. I think the beads, the red, lay just being too much for Heyman. And he's just like, no, you're not my tribal chief. Roman is. It was so good. It was truly art, and it breathed new life into this kind of stale story, because they've had so many like, it's great, it's stale, it's great, and right now we're in another high. And yeah, like Jake says in the comments here, Jacob is a star already. And I know a lot of the joke is, he's just going to eclipse Solo right away. And that's not necessarily true. I think Solo can find his own lane. But this guy, he's so good. And everybody here played their parts to perfection.
And you said it too. It's like everybody played their roles. I think from Tama Tonga to Tangaloa, like them just being like kind of stoic and menacing there. But then you have Solo Sikoa kind of accepting this, like, hey, I'm accepting this reaction that I'm getting, but I don't give a crap about it. Like, I don't care what you guys think. I think the fact that he kind of plays it almost understated and maybe doesn't do it to a huge charisma level adds to that, because it sets stuff up so much more because you can play into like his insecurity of not being that tribal chief and not being acknowledged and certain things like that. And then, yeah, there's nothing wrong if Jacob Fatu overshadows him, because that's the name of the wrestling business. And I think you can play into that as well. It was so well done. And even like the stuff with Heyman, how he kind of set it all up. Bloodshot eyes, looked like he was with my buddy RVD. And then he also like kind of just
You
flat
just
out,
let some of the stubble come in. They did a
yeah,
great thing
let the
with this.
stubble come in. He's stressed out. You can tell he's not in
He's
the
not
best
dyeing
shape.
the hair, like he's just letting it all go.
Yeah.
And this is just too much for him. I think he's been a nervous wreck since Roman left him at WrestleMania. I think he's just been torn to pieces. And this was so much fun.
Yeah.
And what a great venue to tell this story, you know? And that's kind of the fun in WWE and having the years and years and years of lineage, is you get that ability to call upon that. And it's in this great time where, you know, you also had the Cody story.
Yes.
And they did a great thing with him off air. They ended up uploading it to YouTube, but where he gets to hold up the actual title belt that Dusty won. And there's just so many stories intertwining in the Garden. I think WWE does themselves a disservice by not running TV and pay-per-view at the Garden more often. I know it's not the Northeast territory that it was, 30 years ago or whatever, but like they do themselves a disservice by not going to that building more, because it's magic.
I completely agree. Yeah, it's so cool, and that crowd was eating it up. That pop for Heyman too was enormous, and just a really well done segment. What a great way to close out the show. Gives people more hunger for Roman to come back when he does, and that reaction he'll get is going to be big time too. So they really set some good stuff up there. Any other thing you want to talk about SmackDown before we preview Raw?
Good move putting Tiffany in Money in the Bank.
Yep.
She's a strong favorite for me to potentially win it. I think for me right now, I'm thinking it's her, and I'm thinking it's either her or Chelsea. So they're going with a different direction with Money in the Bank in that way, I believe. And, I'm very excited there. And I'm excited to see if DIY can win the tag titles this Friday, because they announced that.
They announced that. And I thought it felt like a big deal being at Madison Square Garden. They didn't do what I thought they were going to do, where kind of make the set unique and make it feel like you were in MSG, but it still felt unique. Like it was like really simplified down in a lot of ways. And I think that kind of helped the ambiance, if you will, of it all. So I did enjoy that. I will say that much. But yeah, let's preview WWE RAW tonight, what they have on the card. I trying to look and see what it is exactly. I thought I put
in. Right now they have the main talking point is going to be the final men's qualifier. It'll be Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus versus Ilya Dragunov.
Oh,
now Dragunov, this is his second time being announced for a qualifier, because he was supposed to take over for Gable.
Yes.
I have to assume this is Drew, and then this just plays into Drew Punk even more. But there is always a good chance that maybe we don't even go that far and Dragunov gets the win. But if I had to put money on it, I'm going with McIntyre.
You're going McIntyre? I'm going to go wild. I'll say Dragunov. Isn't going to do it.
All right. And then you got on the women's side of things, you got Zoe Stark, Dakota Kai, and Ivy Nile qualifying for a spot in Money in the Bank. And that's more of a toss-up to me.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Ivy just because I think there's more to the Chad Gable of it all.
Yes.
If they go with Ivy.
I'm with you on that one. I think Ivy takes that one too. And I think that, that automatically helps move her up because she's in that match. And I think you want to put more of a highlight on her too, because she's very talented.
So. And then you've got, for the first time on television, Rey Mysterio versus Dominic Mysterio one-on-one. And I think this will be a really fun match. And I'm going to guess we see some Liv Morgan here. And Dom gets the win over his father finally. And she can go, "Yes, see? Rhea never helped you beat your deadbeat dad."
Wow.
I did. Come on. So I think I'm going to go with Dom finally gets the win over his dad.
Okay. I like that. Man, That's some forward thinking there, Robert. What are we
And
gonna see
then,
from the Wyatt Six, do you think?
oh, I think we get another video package. And I think because we've seen Nikki Cross
Mm-hmm.
doing the Abigail bit, I think it should be Nikki Cross talks next, and you can just go with, "Hey, your friends left you." You know, it could be she's talking to Uncle Howdy. Your friends left you. I can offer salvation. I see something in you. You embody her spirit, whatever it is that you're doing. I think you got to continue these packages that say, these are how these people got picked to be these characters.
I think that's very cool to do. And yeah, you don't have to have them there. Like you can have them there, like show up like Nikki did. Maybe have somebody at one of the other ones drop off the tape this time and walk away, and then you play it, and then there's Nikki's Cross's story behind that. And I think that's how you can kind of further the long game of this story too. And then you humanize these everybody in this faction, and it makes it mean a lot more too, because you're not giving everybody everything all at once. It's all like getting trickled out. You're seeing it. There's still that air of mystery of what they're about, but you're still making that connection with everybody. Robert, I'm getting more connected with the summer, and I'm feeling pretty darn good.
Looking pretty darn good. I gotta tell you, I see your hat here. You represent Mr. One of a Kind.
That's it. Yes.
Wait, were you picking that hat up at Dome?
But I gotta say, this I feel like I'm Tom Selleck here in Magnum TA. But I guess where I got this at Chubby's, guys. Chubby's is one of our new sponsors. We're very happy to have him here. And I love this shirt. They have so many different selections that you have, different kind of styles of it, different feel of it. I got their one faded one that I really like a lot right here. And you can get 20% off your order by going to chubbysshorts.com /rumor. That's chubbysshorts.com /rumor. Some great stuff. I got this button up. I got some nice shorts. I feel like it's summertime and I'm ready to roll. Summer Slam's rolling right around the bend here. You better believe once I go to Cleveland, I'm going to be wearing this stuff while I'm doing interviews. You watch and see. I'll be all decked out and that stuff. So,
and here's the thing: they got styles, they've got swim trunks, they've got something for everybody. Like if you want to look casual but also keep the cool, you go to Chubby's, and they're gonna keep you covered with that code Rumor. And guys, literally something for every occasion. So you're gonna want to pick that up.
Absolutely. And that, like, I remember too, I was in Tampa for Royal Rumble, and I walked into a store and there was all this Chubby's merchandise, and it was great. It was great. And I loved the feel of it. I loved everything that they had, and there were so many different offers too, and yeah, like Robert said, swim trunks, button ups here, shorts, and then they have stuff for kids too. So yes, go to chubbysshorts.com and /rumor and use that promo code rumor, get 20% off your order. And we thank Chubby's a lot for your sponsoring this podcast. We're excited to have them as a sponsor. So cool. As far as anything else goes, what is some other expectations for you for Raw, Robert?
Well, the main match here would be Liv Morgan, Zelina Vega for the Women's World Championship. This is a strong win for Morgan, I believe. Yeah. This could lead to more interaction with Dom. She feels like she's just keeping that thing warm for Rhea, but at the same time, the dissension in Judgment Day, I believe, will lead to some interesting splits that you might not have been expecting. And let's not forget, Money in the Bank is Saturday. So this is your final chance to punch home, the idea that if Damian loses to Seth, you're out of Judgment Day. If Seth loses to Damian, well, then you better hope he loses that belt quick because you can't get another shot. They've got a few interesting talking points going into the show tonight, and I am looking forward to quite a bit of it.
Yeah, me too. And, that's it is. You think about what Damian Priest said last week on Raw, saying, hey, I don't necessarily need the bloodline. The bloodline needs me. So that's fine. Yeah. And so you can go back to that. You can have a lot of make some interesting ripples in this lack of Rhea Ripley Judgment Day. I think is going to be pretty good stuff. So yeah. As far as anything else goes, news wise, wanted to see. Did you get to catch? What was it? The Shelton Benjamin's comments about the
yeah, and I think that was the look. He commented on a segment from a 2009 ECW where Yoshitatsu debuted, and he did the stereotypical racist bait for feuding with the Japanese guy.
Yep.
He denounced it. He said it's the one thing he wishes he could take back. And he said he's glad the segment ended with him getting kicked in the head. I think that's short, sweet, and to the point.
Yeah.
I think it's genuine. I think Shelton Benjamin's a good dude for even saying it when he doesn't have to.
No.
Nobody was calling on Shelton Benjamin. Hey, you speak out against this 2009 segment you did. Nobody was doing that, but he's a good dude and did it himself because, that in hindsight, that's a stupid segment that was probably being done all too often back in those days. But I think Shelton Benjamin handled it perfectly.
I do too, and it's like, yeah, that's a segment that's obviously under Vince's watch. So you're like, there's nobody ever faulted Shelton for doing something like that because it was just that was bad. It was not it's such a weird one, but we're used to, as wrestling fans, unfortunately, we're used to that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, there is a definite, I don't want to say blindness, but like there's a numbness to these racial stereotypes and these kinds of characters, and you go, you're watching a TV show. And I think if we're honest with ourselves, like that's just completely gone. And even when you see something like that, you should be calling it out, and that's again why I say good for him for doing so.
Yes, I agree. And you think too what WWE does now with a lot of the talent, whether they're, international or they're domestic, it's like they focus more so on a character or a persona, and then they embrace the talent that that person has in the ring or everything to that effect. Like Io Sky, yes, she's she's Asian and stuff like that, but she's not. That isn't what necessarily defines her. It just adds to who she is, and they're not like leaning into, oh yeah, she can't speak English and blah 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 blah. It's like none of this kind of thing. It's kind of takes a different tone of it, and it embraces more than it does like, hey, look at that, we're segmenting these people off because they can't do a certain type of role, or we don't think they fit this necessarily. So it more so speaks to what they're able to do in the ring and from a charisma standpoint. So, and that's what you want to see out of pro wrestling. Hey, Robert, you got a lot of charisma and you're up to a lot of different stuff. Why don't you tell us about it?
Well, first of all, it's very sweet of you. Yes, you can follow me everywhere at DudeFelice. You can check out my work over on Fightful.com. Check out some of my headlines over at MovieWeb for the non-wrestling stuff. For those of you that want a little break from the squared circle, you can check out DudeFelice.com for like a hub of everything that's for me. If you want more wrestling stuff, check out Smart Out Moment, check out Fanboys Anonymous, but also you should be checking out One True Sport because I'm helping Don out with some stuff over there. Don, what we got going on at One True Sport? And where can I get that sweet, sweet hat you got going on there, buddy?
Hey, yeah, you can go to onetruesport.com /RVD/collections. You'll see this hat available now. It's got the RVD logo on there that I made up. And then we also got the One True Sport logo showing. So take a look.
And you got a tank top to match over at onetruesport.com /RVD.
Absolutely. And guys, speaking of RVD, you can catch a new episode today at rvdtv.com. Drops at 4:20 p.m. Eastern.
Damn right it does.
Yes. And we cover Rob's A&E documentary. I ask him questions about it. We do some follow-up questions, and he breaks it down for us. Really, really fascinating conversation. Some great stories about his kickbox trainer that was in there. And then also about, we talk about Triple H, and he gives an awesome perspective about Triple H and stuff. So be sure to tune into that today at 4:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And help us out on the podcast audio numbers with that. Be sure to give us a 5-star review, 5-star frog splash, all that stuff on there when you can. And then tomorrow, Robert knows about this one. Straight Talk with the Boss, Magnum TA, Greg Gagne. The big focus this week was gimmick matches and how they work and everything like that. And plus, we answered a lot of fun questions on there.
And I'm going to say, too, if you want to get in there early, you can check out the live recordings on Thursdays.
Yes.
And, you hit us up and maybe we throw your comments up on screen. You get to talk with Magnum TA and Greg Gagne, two of the greatest legends in the wrestling industry. And we talk also about a lot of cool stuff from Power Town, wrestling action figures. And if you like action figures, you might want to stay tuned about 6 o'clock today. I think there's going to be something that you guys might like from powertown.com.
Yeah, absolutely. Powertownwrestling.com. Be sure to check it out. Their Ultra Series are awesome. And guys, this has been awesome. Rumor and Innuendo. You can find it on Rumor and Innuendo YouTube. You can find it on Ad Free Shows YouTube when we're not bumped by that nasty heel Jeff Jarrett. Working.
He's a baby face now. He's doing it for Owen. He's baby.
He's a heel though in ad-free shows. Just kidding. You can find us on SE Scoops' X account. You can find it on Rumor Innuendo X account. You can find it on my X account and the Podcast Heat X account. But guys, you can find us tomorrow at the same time, same bat channel, on July 2nd. We're furthering that at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Robert, this has been good stuff, but guess what? I'm firing you again. Good luck in your future.
You can't do this to me. You can't fire me.
You're gone.
I quit.
You're gone.
I quit.
See you guys. You're not fired.